Hello and welcome to Bounty into Comics. My name is John Trent. I'm the founder and editor-in-chief at Bounty into Comics. I'm joined by my associate editor, Spencer Bakuli.
Hey.
And we'd like to welcome you to a special edition of the Daily Stupid Live.
Daily Stupid Live!
Just like regular Daily Stupid episodes, in the Daily Stupid Live, we cover some of the dumbest and most idiotic things happening around the world and on the internet. For this episode, we're specifically going to be discussing how stupid Disney is, because they're incredibly dumb.
Oh, they keep passing the mark like every day.
Yes, not only do they not know what they're doing with any of their major franchises anymore, specifically Star Wars and Marvel Cinematic Universe, but they are promoting critical race theory in their training, which we kind of knew was happening. We knew that they had announced this inclusion key, which is code for critical race theory, covering that for the past couple years. So we knew that was coming. But we're going to be dedicating this episode pretty much to the leaked training that journalist Christopher Rufo released, I guess over the weekend, maybe on Friday. I can't remember.
Maybe on Friday. Yeah, sometime over the weekend.
We're going to be going through that. We're going to be looking at that. We're going to be comparing it to a little bit of what Bad Robot publicly released on their training documents for their company. But to begin with, I think we're going to start with Disney's response to Rufo's documents, because I think that's a good place to start, where they confirm that the documents are real, but then they have some things else to say, and then we'll go through and make our own judgments on whether or not we believe what Disney says about these documents. So before we get to that, I would like to shout out to the chat. So we got folks here in the chat with us. Mercale, Emperor of Corruption, is here.
What up, Mercale?
Hussein Husni, he's saying, did you check out my recommendations? I have not seen your recommendation. I'm not sure where you made those. So if they're on Twitter.
I think maybe the Discord.
Maybe Discord.
We'll look around. We'll see.
Yeah, I see Ravul Arvita is here. Hussein Husni said he's second. Mr. Anime 343 is here. He's playing Resident Evil Village.
Jealous.
Restford Gam is here. Says he doesn't want to miss this one. I think this is going to be a good one.
I hope
Glad you're joining us. Vintage Comic Glove says, I didn't know they made Mickey hats in Thanos size. I don't know if they do, but Spencer made one.
For all your custom Disney hat needs, come to me.
And then I see we got Garth Ustavine is here. He says, what is up, guys?
Not a lot. Just happy to be hanging out with you guys.
I think that is Roof Korean is here as well.
Roof Korean!
This is coming. In order to get financing, corporations will be bending the knee. Yeah, I think that's
yeah. 1,000%.
So let's get to this here. Let's go through this. Let's see this response that Disney gave to.
Yeah, so after Rufo got these documents that were allegedly leaked to him by a Disney whistleblower insider, he got a response. So we'll be going through those documents that got leaked, but he got a response after first reporting on them, publishing them, quoting them word for word from Disney themselves, where they called his reporting distorted because they said that he took it out of context. So the full statement is in such tiny text, I don't know why, but Disney basically said, these internal documents are being deliberately distorted as reflective of company policy, when in fact their purpose was to allow diversity of thought and discussion on the incredibly complex and challenging issues of race and discrimination that we as a society and companies nationwide are facing. The Disney brand has a long history of inclusivity, with stories that reflect acceptance and tolerance and celebrate people's differences, as we have consistently demonstrated in such popular films as Moana, Coco, Black Panther, Soul, and Raya the Last Dragon. And as a global entertainment company, we are committed to continuing to tell stories that reflect the rich diversity of the human experience. So the bottom half was definitely just corporate speak, but the important part is at the top.
I do think there is something important to focus in on that last part. They don't consider that they literally call themselves a global entertainment company. I think that is key. That's what all these people are calling themselves now. They're global. They're not American. They're not U.S. based, despite that's literally where they were founded, and they wouldn't exist without the United States.
They also use global as sort of like a smokescreen, because of course they're going to do like business globally, but that's specifically so that they can say operate in China and not specifically say like, we love China, we're doing everything for China. It's global. So, oh, China's just part of the globe, you know? It's very shady. It's very dishonest.
Yeah, it's also interesting they include Raya and the Last Dragon as a popular film. I'm not sure if that's true.
I don't know if that's true. I also love how it's only films from
like this decade.
Yeah, there's no Mulan, like old Mulan. Decade. There's no Aladdin. There's no Princess and the Frog. There's nothing. It's just these things. And I mean, they're good movies. I haven't seen Raya, but I know that the other four, or Black Panther's all right. I don't know why people love it so much. But I digress.
Coco is fantastic, though.
Coco is fantastic. I love Moana. I think Moana looks beautiful.
Soul is good. And I haven't seen Moana yet, but Soul, I like Soul.
Soul was really good. One of my friends, like disclaimer, worked on Moana, so I liked it a lot for that. But it's also just really pretty to look at. But we're getting off on a tangent here. So
well, let's go back up to the first paragraph as well.
Yeah.
These internal, so they're confirming that the documents are real. These internal documents. However, they're claiming that they're deliberately distorted as reflective of company policy, when in fact their purpose was to allow diversity of thought and discussion on the incredibly complex and challenging issues of race and discrimination that we as a society and companies nationwide see here nationwide.
Nationwide, they changed it.
U.S. is there nationwide, but global down here. Interesting. Well, a little bit of what is the phrase that they used in 1984?
Double speak.
Yeah, a little bit of double speak there. But we'll actually see if they this was actually allowed to diversity of thought and discussion. I know I viewed one panel and it literally says you can't ask a certain type of people any questions. So I'm not really sure how that what do they say? Allow diversity of thought and discussion. I'm not sure how you can't ask questions that allows diversity of thought and discussion. It seems to be the opposite of that.
1000%.
So we'll go through these documents and put Disney's statement to the test. And remember, I also want to point out that Bob Chapek claims that Disney has a bunch of universal values of what is it? Integrity and
I can't remember what they were. All the stuff he lied when he was talking about
respect, honesty, blah blah, like which is literally like they like flies in the face of everything they did to Gina Carano, and it looks like right here they're already lying. About their documents, so it's just crazy.
No, but John's totally right. You see the double speak here, and join us. We're gonna pull up the documents leaked by Rufo, and we'll let you guys decide along with us. Did Rufo lie, or is it exactly as Rufo pointed out? Let's find out.
I think we're going to find out that this is a lot of projection. He's distorting the truth.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Disney is definitely distorting the truth here. Spoiler. But so it was so Rufo published his findings on May 6th. So that was last Thursday. He wrote this article, The Wokest Place on Earth. And he
published it in City Journal first, I think.
Yeah, it was on City Journal, I think, like earlier in the day, and then later in the day they let him host it on his site. But so he basically, you can see right here on the screen, we're not going to read it all because we're going to go through the documents, but if you just take a cursory glance, you see there are a lot of quotes. Basically, his entire report is just quotes of their words as they are. So that already to me is a big ding against Rufo distorting what they're saying.
So let's just go to the doc. I mean, he's really close to the documents.
Yeah, they're all right here.
Right here. It's called.
Why do you want to do that to me?
There you go. The hamburger. The hamburger got you.
There it is.
McDonald's is getting in on the party. The Hamburglar.
Hamburglar social media. So, according to Rufo's report, or to according to the alleged leaker who spoke to Rufo and gave him these documents, the training program is called Reimagine Tomorrow, as you see on the bottom, and it's filled with what they call modules, which I'm sure everybody here is sort of familiar with. They're just bites, like they break up your training into different sections and stuff. And this one in particular is called Allyship for Race Consciousness, and it asks, or it tells you right here. Zoom more in. Oh yeah, I can zoom more. In. Oh yeah, because I was trying to get the full page for the first one.
There you go.
So basically, they give you their thesis statement right at the top. Many of us are wondering how we can step up to support Black colleagues and promote racial justice. Think of this guide as one of many starting points to becoming an ally. Throughout this guide, we have been intentional about addressing both white and non-black people of color allies because each group can extend different and distinctive types of allyship. Like, listen to that critical race theory speak right there. Like, addressing both white and non-black people of color allies. Like, this is it's centering your black colleagues as almost untouchable, and you'll see as we get into it how it's actually pretty offensive how they frame this. But that's what the goal is of these guides. It's to teach you how to be an ally specifically to your black colleagues. And you see the starter right here. The struggle is real. The hard work is not a moment in time. Allyship is not self-defined. It is defined by the individual or group to whom you are an ally. You are an ally when the individual or the group say so and recognize you as one. All of this is this is one of the crappy parts about how they use allyship is basically you have to keep proving yourself to us, and there's no specific they call on people to be allies, but if there's no specific thing for them to hit, it's arbitrary when you become an ally. They get to hold it over you forever, if that makes any sense. Just like, oh, I want to be an ally. Well, you got to do this. Okay, am I an ally now? No, you did this wrong. You got to keep doing this. Well, what about now? No, you got to keep doing this. And you will, just like we see with people like cancel culture mobs, it'll never be enough. It's never enough.
It's like a spiral staircase that keeps going.
Yes, that's a perfect way to put it. It's just
Isn't
like a
there
spiral
painting?
staircase.
I feel like there's a painting that does that. But yeah, Tehillim is
I think
basically
there
on
is,
point.
too.
He calls it the Tower of Babel. Yeah,
Oh
pretty
yeah,
much.
dude. This is the woke Tower of Babel, the critical the critical Tower of Babel. So they put.
I do find it interesting
yeah.
that it says that is grounded in accountability, action, and respect.
No, yes, I think that's fantastic to point out, because as we go through this, you're going to see that respect and accountability only goes one way.
Yeah.
So in this module, they have 3 different sections: learn, engage, learn, reflect, and engage. Basically, how to learn to be an ally, reflect on your position as an ally, and then engage in being an ally. So this is where we're going to first start seeing that one-way street of respect and accountability going, because right here, they literally start with that great classic of take ownership of educating yourself about structural anti-Black racism in the current and historical context, but do not rely on your Black colleagues to educate you because it's emotionally taxing. And I mean,
but right, it says you can only read. It says opt for sources from Black authors, journalists, and organizations, and then it's like don't
rely on Black colleagues
to educate you.
It's such a I hate when they say don't rely on. It's like, it's not my job to teach you, or don't rely on us to teach you. It kind of is. Nobody knows what the hell you're talking about, so you have to teach us if you want us to. If you want to try and push this critical race crap on us, because just imagine the conversation like, oh, hey, Black colleague number 1, I really want to read some Black authors. I want to know more about anti-Black racism because I don't know that perspective. Are you going to learn anything if they just go find out on your own? No, because what if you go learn the wrong thing or you get the wrong opinion? And again, I'm playing devil's advocate because I don't think it should be anywhere in the workplace. But that now you're going, the colleague who wanted to know more is going out and getting sources that might not line up with what you want to teach, or it might come from a different train of thought. And it's just so dumb. It's just such a dumb. What are they like? They're trying. It's a power play, honestly. It links back to what I was saying about it'll never be enough for you. You could go out and educate. You could literally read everything on their resources list, and I guarantee you will still get the people running this program or abiding by this ideology going, it's not enough. And so it's a big catch-22. Educate yourself on the sources we want you to be educated on, but we're not going to tell you what those sources are. Figure it out yourself, but you will get in trouble if you don't get the right ones. But that's just that one thing. I really wanted to touch on that education. The don't ask us to educate you, because I hate it and it pops up all the time and it never makes sense. But it continues on that. Consider the ways multiple dimensions of identity can make people vulnerable to interlocking forms of bias or systems of exclusion. Read public posts by Black authors. Proactively seek out Black stories that reflect success, joy, and create. I want to point this one out. Proactively seek out Black stories that reflect success, joy, and creativity. Black history and Black experiences are more than traumatic stories. This point is such crap because all that Hollywood pushes on us are these Black trauma stories. Like that short that just got nominated, I think it might have even won an Academy Award. The short that won was literally about a Black guy getting caught in a Groundhog Day loop that ends with an encounter with a policeman that shoots him. And the short literally ends with him on the ground bleeding out, and the blood goes into the shape of Africa.
Yeah, the new Batwoman teaser for the next episode is literally it's like Luke Fox, Ryan, and Sophie getting arrested by the police.
Oh my god! I mean, and look,
Falcon and the Winter Soldier has it.
That up.
I will say that there are some positive ones. Chadwick Boseman played Jackie Robinson in 42.
But look at that. 42 was a while ago.
Right.
I think what I'm speaking more to is that there are definitely stories that are Black stories that are just great stories, successful, happy, blah blah blah, creative. But so much of what has been pushed for this agenda, for the critical race social justice agenda, have been these stories that highlight Black trauma. And
you're not getting stories like Independence Day where Will Smith is like the hero, killing the aliens and saving
no, you have to get stories like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where Isaiah straight up tells Sam that no self-respecting Black man will ever wear the shield, even though the flag, even though Iron Patriot does. Sam was a Marine, and
he was the Air Force. Yeah, Sam was Air Force.
Sam was John Air Force.
Stewart's the Marine.
That's right. I had it all mixed up.
But hold on. We got a $10 super chat from Casey Asowski.
Thanks, Casey.
Here. I must admit that it would be nice to think Star Wars might be savable, but any company that would put this in place will never understand what it truly stands for. Yeah, you're 100% on that, Casey. 100% on that. This is why Star Wars is dying. And this is what I've been saying for a long time. This stuff is embedded in the company. They're preaching it at the company. We literally have now confirmed that they're training their employees this way. There's a reason why they wanted to bring Gina Carano in and shame her on a 50-person Zoom chat, and then have her
We wanted her to do a struggle session.
Exactly.
It's gross.
So that's exactly. I mean, it's baked in. Is to quote. I forget who said. To quote Kevin Feige, that it's baked in to the company now, as he said that the wokeness was baked into the Eternals. But so it's obviously baked into Disney, not just into their films, and that's why it's baked into their films, because it's part of their culture now that they're actually pushing on all of their employees.
But also you see how full of crap they are with how they treat people like Gina, how they treat people like John Boyega. This came out 2 days after that May the 4th post where they literally removed John Boyega from the poster. You don't get to talk like this when you do crap like that.
Yeah, I don't know if they removed him or not. I don't think the artist actually addressed it, but he definitely was absent in the post on Twitter.
Yeah, it's so bad. Even though the full version, it has Finn in it. It's so bad. But this goes. I do want to say here, there's already they're already limiting. What is it? The discussion. Mm-hmm.
You can't. Do not rely on your Black colleagues to educate you.
And I mean, the last point, literally, share your leanings with colleagues, friends, and family who are not allies. Be thoughtful about inundating your Black colleagues with your newfound learnings.
Right.
Don't go talking to them about it.
It's also telling you spread the propaganda.
Oh yeah, obviously. Yeah.
That's literally what that is.
Including kids and teens. They had to specifically note that out, which is very odd to me. Well, I mean, not odd, but it doesn't sit right with me.
That's what Disney's.
That's their modus operandi now. Yeah, no, exactly. But so that's how they want you to learn. So basically go out and do your own research, read a bunch of Black media, Black stories, Black authors, kind of the same thing you always hear. But then they want you to reflect on yourself. And this is where it gets more nuts, and it's going to get progressively more nuts as we go down. But they ask you to recognize the power and privilege you have based on who you are. Reflect on the diversity of your personal and professional networks and how racial and other dimensions of your identity give or do not give you access and advantage. And this one's pretty bad. Acknowledge your emotional reactions in this process, the sources of discomfort and productive ways to address it. Examine and work through feelings of guilt, shame, and defensiveness to understand what is beneath them and what needs to be healed. That line right there is so disingenuous, or it is such disingenuous bullcrap, because it's basically saying if you have a reaction to being told, because we all know what is going to happen, they're going to tell you you're a white person, you are racist. You've always been racist. The white person is going to go, no, I'm not. Like, what are you talking about? And because they throw this out here, your discomfort is because of guilt and shame. You're being defensive because you know you're guilty of racism. So
yeah, as we get further down, they say that systemic racism is real in this training module. I do want to point out, though, I sent you a link. If you can pull it up real quick. Yeah. It says recognize the power and privilege you have based on who you are. And this was WDW Pro at Pirates and Princesses does point this out. I wonder if Bob Chapek and Bob Iger recognize the power and privilege they have when they took this training course. As you can see here, if you go back up real quick, that is Bob Chapek's $12.5 million home right there. So talking about power and privilege.
Yeah,
and then
for real.
And then if you scroll down to the next one, you get Bob Iger's recently sold Fifth Avenue $19 million apartment. So yeah, talk about power and privilege.
And it's exactly like what WDW Pro points out here. It was provided to Disney's mostly middle and lower class employees. This is the elites doing this to us. Like, it sucks.
So yeah, well, we'll get to this slide a little bit later, but he's got this slide on here.
The equity.
Yeah, and so I wonder if Bob Iger and Bob Chapek will be taking part in equity, not equality. So we'll find out if that happens. I'll give you a hint. It's not.
Stay tuned for the big conclusion. The mystery will be revealed of whether or not anybody pushing this actually believes this at the top.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they'll be giving themselves a raise at the end of the year. They'll be giving themselves bonuses.
And then like Q4 investors call, they're going to be bragging about, during Q1 2022, 2021, we were so diverse and we made so many strides and we did so much for equity and equality. Like, like they're going to try. We all know.
We gave ourselves a $10 million bonus and we fired like 50,000 people.
We're doing great. We're very inclusive. But then there's also this. It says, it continues, recognize your colleagues are also processing the ways in which the pandemic is disproportionately affecting the Black community. And then this one is just so
weird. There's no evidence. I haven't seen it. How is it disproportionately affecting them?
I have no idea. I'm not
virus. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not up to date on that topic. I guess what I saw at the beginning of the pandemic was that it was affecting more Black people because more Black people were living in like lower income places that had harder access to healthcare and doctors and stuff. So they were just not going and getting treatment. And then there's also like skepticism within the Black community about the medical care. I'm not super versed. That's just what I saw at the beginning, but I think that's the basis of it. But the next point is particularly bad, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it's confirming here that systemic racism is real.
Yeah.
They're saying that like Disney is literally telling you that this exists.
Yeah, because they're saying
it doesn't.
Yeah, they're saying if you are feeling confused, shocked, or have recently awakened to systemic racism, recognize that this is probably not new to your Black/African American colleagues. Avoid messages like "I can't believe this is happening." The murders of Breonna Taylor, Sean Reed, Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, Tony McDade, Nina Pop, Rayshard Brooks, Adam Trayer, and countless others are part of a long history of systemic racism and transphobia. In solidarity with U.S. protests, we are seeing similar protests due to police brutality targeted at Black people around the world. The current unrest represents a tipping point in heightened awareness of the movement. There's a lot there. There's the fact that they are saying you might have recently awakened to systemic racism.
Yeah. Woke.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You've woken up. The fact that they're saying that America has a long history of systemic racism and transphobia, which is just one of those things that they can just throw out there without having to define it. Because
let me pause you real quick here. YouTube me points to. I think he's kind of making a similar point here.
Yeah,
I love when people who are in charge of the system claim systemic racism. So if they, like, this is Disney saying that systemic racism exists. So one has to wonder what does go. Bob Chapek and Bob Iger, are you?
It's like when Tom Cotton admitting that. It's like when Tom Cotton pressed that one woman who was the Attorney General candidate when she said that everybody holds racist, like everybody in America is holds racist beliefs. So Cotton was like, okay, who do you not like? You just said everybody holds racial biases, and she was like,
right,
not me, I don't, and she totally got trapped in her own little tornado.
Yeah,
you're completely on point, YouTube me, because that also points to the fact that like the BLM, the critical Marx theory, critical Marx theory, that is what it is, but critical race theorists and social justice theorists, the Marxists, all these groups are not the quote unquote resistance anymore. They are this is
Disney.
I know
the largest corporations on the planet.
So yeah, you have to extrapolate from there. If all of these companies, Coca-Cola, Disney, Sony, Activision, Blizzard, whoever, throw a freaking dart at the wall and you'll hit somebody who's put out one of those crappy messages. And it's all the people in power, the White House, the Senate. You have all these people in your side. Why you have to stop looking out at these imaginary boogeymen and look at, wait a minute, Mr. CEO, if they're just like John said, if there's systemic racism, then aren't you perpetuating it? So again, it's Marxism for power.
So we got another. I found this another great comment from the chat here. Roof Korean says, "What kind of company are you running that you need to have these workshops?"
That's the thing, right? It feels almost like when you're a kid and you do something wrong, like you break a glass or you forgot to do a chore. So when your parents come home, you act really, really nice and really, really good and hope that they don't bring it up. Or at least you hope to get enough brownie points that when it is brought up, you don't get grounded or anything. That's what this is. This is them going, we are actually that crappy. We're going to put out all of these workshops and profess how anti-racist we are to put that air out, because we're hiding up the fact that we are completely the opposite, but we want to remain in power. We want to be the ones who keep controlling culture and having your money coming to us.
Want to keep that Fifth Avenue apartment.
I want to keep my $12 million house that basically looks like Disneyland itself when nobody lives around me.
What they really mean by equity is like, I get like the Fifth Avenue apartment and you get like nothing.
You get the pod. You get the pod and the bugs.
Yeah, you're the one who builds the apartment, and then you go live in the pod. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, exactly. He stands here speaking of equity, and then he turns around and goes into his mansion. Like it doesn't work. But so that's how everybody Disney recommends everybody reflect. Yeah, go for it.
Luis Morales says diverse actually means range of differences in ideas. Saying less white men to mean diverse makes no sense. When saying diverse food, there's no such thing as less white men food.
No, I think you're completely on point. John and I always point out, whenever they claim to say diversity, it's not diversity of thought or viewpoint. No, it's diversity in skin color. That's it, which is super hyper racist. Like I'd rather hang out with 9 like all white guys who have varying opinions, super conservative, super left-wing, or not even politics. Like one person loves Batman, another person loves Captain America, and we were all arguing about it. I'd rather have that than be hanging out with a room of 9 ethnically varied individuals who all love America Chavez. Like that doesn't get anything done. You just get yes men that way.
Yeah.
But so that's how Disney wants you to reflect. But then they also want you to engage. And they want you to know that embracing discomfort and humility along the way will enable your growth as an ally. So basically, they are prefacing this section by saying, you're going to be humiliated. You're going to be made uncomfortable. And if you are if you do feel uncomfortable, that's your fault and you have to address it, and you're racist, and it helps your growth as an ally. There is no room here for anybody to say, I'm not racist or I don't do that. You are automatically given the original woke sin of racism, and you can't escape it. So
yeah. So this is where this is interesting here. This is where they say this is what they mean by being accountable. It's like you said, it's only one way.
Oh, it's completely only one way.
Right. It's not the other way. You can't go back the other way. Like Disney can't hold Disney accountable. Only their employees.
Only their employees. Be willing to make mistakes and be open to feedback is how you can be held accountable. If you make a mistake, apologize and commit to doing better the next time. While feedback may sting, resist the urge to defend your intent or center your feelings, and instead focus on the impact you had on the affected person.
Right. So even if you're even if you're right, you shouldn't defend yourself.
No.
You need to just instead already apologize to the person who was offended by whatever you had to say to them.
Exactly. And the darker the skin color, the higher up you are with the darker you are, the less you have, the more you're going to win that argument, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Right. Yeah.
Like if you're a white guy and this happens with a Hispanic lady, the Hispanic lady is going to win. But if the Hispanic lady goes up against a black woman, the black woman's going to win just because she's darker.
Yeah. Well, yes, definitely according to this module. It also depends on which way the wind is blowing that day. If it's the day where they want to push stop Asian hate everywhere, then
then maybe the Asians get their time in the sun.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. I'm sure you're 100% it just switches as much as their opinions do.
It's just like the Clone Wars. If it's the Maori people are at the top of the food chain.
Dude, I love that.
The Bad Batch people.
That's so good. No, that's perfectly on point. But so aside from being willing to make mistakes and be open to feedback, which is not how it happens. We've all seen this before. There is no room for a mistake. Mistakes are like death penalty. Like they warrant the death penalty for your social standing.
So we know with Gina Carano making a mistake, like quote unquote mistake, which she didn't make any mistakes, despite what people want to say. They wanted her to apologize. She refused to apologize. They even tried to bring her, like I said, they tried to bring her to that struggle session or that shame session. I wouldn't even call it.
I wouldn't even call it struggle. Yeah,
it was a shame session. So it's like, and like you said, embracing discomfort, or like it says here, embracing discomfort and humility. Like they don't want you to embrace humility. They want you to embrace getting humiliated.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what keeps happening.
Because humility and being humiliated are two different things. Like humility is actually
different thing,
like a good virtue. But they're twisting what they mean by that is embrace getting humiliated rather than actually being humble and embracing humility, which is two
completely different ideas. And that's the key to critical race and social justice theory and greater Marxism as it is throw so many words that sound good. And just make word salad, and you can just pick out what you and do whatever you want with it. I don't know. It's just they intentionally throw in all these words to confuse you and obstruct or obscure their true goal. And it's just, I don't know. I'm personally not standing for it anymore, or haven't for a long time. I think we're all kind of in that same boat.
Yeah, Geeky Pixie is saying here, I get attacked a lot even when those same people tell me to stop Asian hate. I tell them I am Asian. They will tell me, shut up, you're still white.
Yeah, no, they do not care. That's exactly what happens, Geeky Pixie. Yeah. It happens to me all the time. You tell them, hey, I'm Asian. I don't agree with that. I don't think this is happening. And you automatically become not the right Asian. You're not this.
Yeah,
or like look what happens to black people when what's his name? What's the senator's name who gave the rebuttal to Biden's
Tim Scott.
Yes, I thought it was Tim Scott. Senator Tim Scott got it just piled on by people. Uncle Tim's, just every disgusting race traitor type of term that you could throw at him, and all for just not
So-
thinking America was racist. Like,
So that just kind of brings up. I do want to go back on that idea when we
Yeah.
were talking about it's just purely. It's not. It's more about like how you think. The diversity is about how you think. And if you don't think their way, it doesn't matter what you look like. You're still on the bottom of the food chain.
oh, 1,000%.
They're just using skin color to push the narrative, but it's really about just the narrative, and you have to be on board.
Because skin color is that easy thing to grip onto, to be like, no, white people. That's easy. Everybody knows what white people is. But it's once you start getting into it to the struggle sessions and the purity tests, that's exactly when it's like a Trojan horse. That's how they get you. I mean, if you joined up in the first place because it was anti-white, you should reflect on why you're such a damn racist. But that's what they do.
Yeah.
But
all right.
Yeah,
Keep
go ahead.
going.
Oh, yeah. So to further be accountable, and along those lines of that humiliation line John was just talking about, they want you to check in thoughtfully, consider your relationship, the level of trust, and whether you are prepared to provide real support. Challenge colorblind ideologies and rhetoric, all lives matter, or I don't see color. It is harmful and hurtful, as it is a form of here comes John's favorite, as it is a form of erasing the real and specific ways racial identities affect lived experiences.
I thought if I remember correctly, in their original response to Rufo, they said they were trying to create discussion, thoughtful discussions. That doesn't look like they're literally telling you to challenge other ideologies, because to me that are the implication is that those are wrong.
Right, exactly.
And that I don't see color is like a wrong idea. Like that's like they're literally saying Martin Luther King's ideal for the United States of America is a wrong idea.
They trip over themselves with their
insane.
virtue signaling. That's all it is. It's just
Yeah.
a virtue signaling, and they can't keep it right. They can't keep it straight. We've only gotten like through a page and a half, and John and I have pointed out a bunch where they don't get it, or like they contradict themselves. It just gets worse. They then ask you to contribute to the Black community by consistently supporting Black, African-American owned businesses and or volunteering for organizations that advance racial equity and justice, BLM.
And they want you to be a
obviously.
tattletale.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Notify your human resources partner. Look at these, like your human resources business partner, employee relations, or diversity and inclusion representative.
Yeah.
Why would a company have all three of those? Like, you're wasting money. But notify them if you see problematic posts on Slack or company approved social.
I wonder if an employee relations is like a union rep or something, because that
would make more sense. Yeah. But
But
either way,
human resources and
diversity
diversity and inclusion, they seem like that's redundant, and one of them
it
should
should
be
be the
removed.
same thing. It's the grift has now established its own industry.
It's so
evolving.
true. It's so like they're like, yes, they've come out of HR and they've created their own department within these corporate
that can
structures,
and like it's amazing because it can coexist with HR, like we're seeing right here. So you can just keep piling all this rhetoric up the human resources chain.
Oh, you know that they butt heads, though. I guarantee you that there's
Probably
there's headbuttings between those two divisions.
I would hope that
any division within a corporation usually butts heads with the other ones. That's how it works.
I'd love to see the internal Disney battling, if there is any battling, and how long the employees who fought back stayed at the company.
Yeah.
So here's where it gets. This part is actually where I think it's the most insane. They want you to be involved.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Do not question or debate.
Do not question or debate Black colleagues' lived experience. What did you think it was?
I thought they were supposed to be giving me thoughtful and it was supposed to be creating thoughtful discussion and lively debate.
I don't know where you read that. That was pages ago. It doesn't count anymore. No, you're exactly right. We've seen just in these two sections like 3 or 4 instances of shutting out a conversation. They don't want conversation. They want you to talk. They want you to
preach.
Yeah, preach, evangelize their
dictate,
like dictate. Campaign.
Obey. Chris Neville says obey.
Obey is a great word. They want you to obey their ideology only, and they want all those conversations to be centered on further propagating that ideology. So that because if anything goes against it, yes, exactly, perfect, on point. But so
hold
they
on.
don't even. Oh yeah, go ahead.
We got a $2 Canadians $2 super chat from Fat Steven Seagal. The magical
Fat Steven
drifting. Interesting.
Oh yeah,
asshole in a No, thinking face.
I wish I could. I have the chat down right now because I have the documents up, but I'll take a look later. Anything from that Steve, it's always good.
The magical world of grifting is what he's calling Disney. Yeah,
that's actually pretty on point. I think I'm going to start using that as well because that's
a good one.
Genuinely what they're doing here. For example, don't ask them your black colleagues questions such as, "Are you sure they meant it that way? It's not a race thing," or "I'm playing devil's advocate." Instead, reserve judgment and others offer statements of validation if someone shares their experience. This is the dangerous part here. They're literally telling you that if
do not challenge
your black colleagues.
Do not question
at all. If a black colleague comes up and says, John was super racist to me in the elevator and John wasn't even in the elevator that day, John is not allowed to say anything. He has to sit there, take it and go, yes, you're right. I offended you. My white privilege, blah, 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 blah. This is awful. This is shutting out conversation and it's racist. It's definitely
wrong,
immoral. Yeah, it's super wrong. Acknowledge and listen with empathy when black colleagues share their lived experiences. Avoid saying, I feel you, I've been there, and instead say, I hear you. Tell me more about what that felt like. Another contradiction right there. I thought I wasn't supposed to rely on my black colleagues for education or for them to tell me anything. But now you're asking me to ask them, tell me more about what that felt like.
Yeah.
You can't, Disney, you're so bad at this.
Avoid conflating the black experience with other communities of color.
While other people of color are subject to racism.
Is the black experience all just like one thing? I'm pretty sure
that's
a
what
guy
it's
from
saying.
Ghana has a very different experience from someone who lives in Detroit. Just like I have a different experience from you.
No, exactly. We just two different spots. That's the crappy part about this.
Ridiculous.
It's and I'm so hesitant to say the term, but I think it is what's happening. It's black supremacy. It's like they're literally telling you, don't question us, don't question anything they say. Don't ever try to conflate them with anybody else, because the second you bring in other races, that racism narrative almost disappears. I don't want to say it disappears, but it becomes much less inflammatory and much more complicated. And they don't want complication. They want that easy propaganda slogan that they can throw up there. And it's like, I'm not denying that, anti-black racism is different than anti-Asian, but you can still compare the experiences. You can still talk about them. There is no reason for one race to have a monopoly on racism, which is exactly what's happening right here.
Yeah, there's a reason why people are attracted to heroes that look different than them.
Yeah,
because they either want to aspire to be like that hero because they like how they're they like the way that they're living and the ideals that they embody, or they can relate to a struggle that they had in their story that they also
not anymore, unless the character looks exactly 100% you and likes to sleep with exactly what you like to sleep with. It is offensive and you need to do better.
Right. Yeah, just utterly ridiculous.
It's so bad. It continues asking you to avoid reposting traumatic images and videos, or asking your black colleagues to recount their experience. Literally one sentence to the next, they contradict themselves.
Go back up. It literally says, "Tell me
more about what that felt like."
Avoid asking your black colleagues to recount their experiences.
They don't. Again, you cannot win here. It's all catch-22s.
So I just want to. This is the Daily Stupid, and that is one of the dumbest.
That's the Daily.
You contradicted yourself within 2 bullet points. Super stupid.
So bad. Continuously looking at traumatic images will desensitize you. Reflect on why you need to consume that and its impact on you.
Go down to be aware of tokenism.
Oh yeah, in the institutions. We'll get to that one because that's what I'm gonna blow up about. Do not call on your black colleagues to represent the voice of their community. While they share the experience of being black in America, the community is not a monolith. Again,
they just contradicting the black experience. 2 bullet points ago.
They're completely contradicting themselves.
Yeah.
It almost feels like 2 different documents were smushed together. Avoid using statements like oh yeah.
Trash this is just that. Whole critical race theory logic is.
Oh, it's so bad. avoid using statements like "let's keep this conversation professional" or "politics don't belong at work" to try to shut down conversation about what's happening. Again, they blanket it. Conversation about what's happening is so vague that you can use it for anything, right?
Well,
so obviously,
it's also just like maybe you don't like. It's like it's also, to me, it's like you have to sit there and listen to them preach to you, and if you and you have to like take it and like have to listen to whatever they're saying, even though like there's no way that you can try and get out of the conversation.
Like if you ask a black employee to go, can you go give this
well, it doesn't even have to be it can be like a
that's true. It could be anybody
person preaching to you about George Floyd. And if you don't want to talk about it, you can't. You have to sit there and listen to it.
You have to sit there and listen to him.
Otherwise, you can be reported because they tell you can be reported.
Reported to the HR people.
Yeah.
Again, there's the standard. Be aware of microaggressions. I mean, I honestly thought that died. I haven't heard of microaggressions in a year or two, and I was like, wow, they finally moved on. Now they're just busy calling us racists, but it's back.
Yeah, I feel like what's her name, Titania McGrath, pretty much destroyed the microaggression stuff with like
she blew it out.
It's a guy, but yeah, he's parodying.
Yeah, he's great. I love him, his stuff. Allyship is not about credit, reward, or showcasing all the ways you are saving the world. Yeah, fine, whatever. That's just
wait. What does that say? Be aware of microaggressions, which can be statements that devalue someone. A few examples of these statements are: "You are very articulate. You are not like the others I have met from the black community, and I like your black Southern." What? Why is that? What's wrong with that? How is that a microaggression?
They
complimenting someone is a microaggression now.
They think it's a microaggression because they what's the logic?
Because you're saying it's black.
Yeah, because you're saying it's black, and by saying it's black, you're what is their stupid logic? You're defining white as the standard. That's what it is. So if you go, you're not like I like your black Southern accent. They argue like, why do you have to say black Southern? Why can't it just be Southern? And it's like, I don't know. Black Southerners have a very specific accent compared to white Southerners. Like, just everybody has a different accent. Some groups have similar accents. It happens. Like, sorry.
Yeah, there's different accents in the South as well.
Oh,
that
yeah.
Sounds like the Northerners are generalizing all accents from the South as Southern, when there's definitely different accents depending on where you live.
It's almost as if they're treating the black Southerners as a community and representative of the entire black population in America. Somebody recently told me that you shouldn't do that, but I can't remember who.
Yeah.
So after addressing all those points to the individual, Disney also puts forth things that they want institutions to do, which is be aware of tokenism. When so literally, guys, these next few bullet points are going to contradict each other, and it's embarrassing. Beware of tokenism. When black professionals are expected to be representative for their entire race. Mention professional skills and qualities of black colleagues when they are not around to provide visibility and sponsorship.
Hold on.
That's literally tokenism. Go ahead.
Do not call on your black colleagues to represent the voice of their community. Be aware of tokenisms.
But then when your black colleague isn't around, make sure you mention him all the time to make sure that everybody knows that there's a black guy working here. That is tokenism. That's literally tokenism. Pointing out, like, it's so offensive, and they did it in sentences, and they're dumb. That would probably rank high on our 5-point daily stupid list too.
I mean, that's why we're doing this. This whole thing is just.
Oh yeah, exactly. It's just all candidate number one. So far, this takes the crown for the year. Provide mentoring and sponsorship within your sphere. Blah blah blah. Oh yeah, it's
points after the first one are token.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get to. Like, proactively offer opportunities for sustained growth and advocate for development to help promote black talent. Why can't you just promote talent by specifying it's black talent? You're tokenizing them. Like, this is not good.
This is like Disney is admitting that they are racists, creating an environment where authenticity around black identity. Like, are you not have that?
Right. Like, that's the thing. They have to put all of these forth. Why do you have to? Who said it earlier in the chat? Was it Roof Korean?
I think it was either Roof Korean or YouTube Me.
Or YouTube Me. Yeah, points. One of them. But they said earlier in the stream, oh my gosh, I totally lost it. I think you know what I was going to say. Damn it, what was I going to say?
Yeah, it might be gone now, but
what kind of company Like, I wouldn't want to work for a company that has to, like, what kind of company needs to run these kind of training
trainings? Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And that's 100% on point. Why do you have to, like, so much of these new diversity and inclusion trainings are basically things we were taught as kids, you know, or they're going against things we were taught as kids.
Yeah.
Which is like, treat everybody equally, be fair, don't treat people differently because of their skin color. Now they want you to do the opposite, right? Show mercy,
forgiveness.
Not anymore.
Like
mistakes, you're out. Mistakes, anything, you're gone. But that's so for the institutions. This entire list.
Challenge authority when you think there's something wrong. Like that's
can't do that. No more challenging authority. You just listen and you
ask
follow.
Questions. Be curious.
Questions.
Stoke your curiosity.
That's emotionally taxing.
Yeah.
But and see, like, this one also kind of worries me. Practice fairness to counter the stereotypes and biases around capabilities and competencies. That's so vague, but considering they're talking about biases around capabilities and competencies, I really fear that we're going to start seeing, and we've seen it a lot already, a lot of unqualified people being put in positions they're not qualified for simply because of their skin color. And
like
basically they're asking you to overcorrect.
She was gonna get, what's her name? Disney had her doing the Wrinkle in Time film, and absolutely bombed.
Ava DuVernay.
Yeah, Ava DuVernay.
Yeah. Exactly. She got elevated to movie director when on a big thing after like nothing. Like, calm down, people.
She has not done a big movie since then.
No, but she was going to do New Gods, but
canned. Didn't happen.
And we know that was canned. We're sure it was. I'm almost positive it was canned a while ago. Like way before the announcement.
Yeah.
But that's basically what the institutions they're asking them to do, is basically overcorrect against old school like Jim Crow racism and beware of tokenism while tokenizing all your employees. And in this module, they then give you resources for further learning, which are your typical NPR podcasts, Harvard Business Review, CNN, an implicit bias test, bestsellers on race and civil rights. And then
hold on, can you go back up?
Yeah.
Is there anything from ABC? Are they promoting their own company?
Doesn't look like it, but we'd have to look more. I'm sure they've got a hand in Harvard or Forbes somewhere.
Yeah. Vanity Fair probably too.
and so the
article, are you a well-meaning white parent
who perpetuates racism? I mean, it's the same logic from the people who work for Sesame Street now that say your child can be racist as early as like 3 months, like or show racial preferences as early as 3 months. Like, it's all insane. We're literally at the point where we're blaming newborn children for crimes that they don't even know that they committed because they don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Seriously.
It's so bad. So this is
literally can't even talk.
They can't. If they can't talk and all they can do is listen and obey, that's exactly the kind of people they want.
Yeah.
And that was a joke, but I mean, they are targeting the youth, obviously. I mean, this is Disney.
Yes.
And so then another module is your standard kind of what can I do about
a lot of Disney employees, the cast members are younger people.
Oh yeah.
Like the people that work in the parks and stuff. Yeah.
Dude, I'm so worried, or we'll talk about that tomorrow. The leniency on how people can appear, like the employees can appear in parks, because like this is going off the rails. But returning to the subject at hand, the second module provided by the leaker to Rufo was what can I do about racism? And it's an anti-racism discussion guide. So it's kind of your standard stuff. We're not going to go super in depth through all the points because I'm sure you've all read it before.
Yeah.
Some of the individual insidious instances of racism, like implicit biases and microaggressions, are difficult to identify and quantify, let alone fight. So how do we as individuals make a difference? That's literally the thesis statement. You can see up here, they bring up the deaths of George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, and Breonna Taylor again. They also throw in
call them murders in this one, though.
No, they just said deaths in this one, which is super interesting. They also brought in anti-Asian, which was not present in the previous one. But
this was probably more recent.
I would actually assume it was more recent.
Yeah.
But so again, guys, it's just your standard kind of guide about they preach at you about implicit biases, microaggressions, how to become an anti-racist. But this is where that that the equity versus
The equity slide
equality.
is- yeah,
So
there it
this
is.
slide is kind of what they are going for. They want to focus on equity, which is the equality of the outcome, rather than equality is the oh
No,
my
you
god.
had it right.
Okay, yeah.
Equity is
Is equal outcome.
equal
Equality is equal opportunity.
opportunity. Yeah.
So as you can see in the picture there's like the 3 boxes the disabled kid can't see. So equity builds a ramp so he can come up and see. The problem is that slide is not equity. That slide is equality. Equity is essentially telling you that everybody should
they show there.
Yeah.
That's
equality. Both of these are equality. They're literally giving that kid the same opportunity to come up and look. If they wanted the
They did take
Yeah.
the one stool away from the guy on the left.
Oh yeah, I didn't
in
notice that.
slide.
And
Yeah.
they gave it
So
to the girl.
it does have equity. So they do have.
Okay, so it does. Yeah. But
the
that's
girl wouldn't get anything either.
no,
Like,
she
would
wouldn't.
lose
She
both of
would
hers
say
as well.
the disabled kid would be holding the box on his head because they would just give it to him.
Yeah. Where did all those other boxes come from? The
That's
ramp
what I'm
box?
saying. They had to go out of their way to get that extra material to make their analogy work, which is what happens every time. But
Yeah.
the problem with equity over equality is that it wants the same outcome for everybody, which is impossible. And that's the insidious base of this like Marxist ideology, is that you cannot ever have the same outcome for everybody, but they will constantly try to berate you and force you into these ways of thinking that that they trick you into thinking will make everybody on the same playing field. But it will never happen. I mean, just by biological, you're going to have some people who are born taller, some people who are born with a little more weight, some people who are born with disease, some people who are born like with Adonis bodies. Like you're never going to have equity. And the way they want equity is very scary because they want to take away all these opportunities from you and make sure that everybody has the same outcome.
No, we already talked about this. The equity that they want is you don't have any boxes,
Right.
And they have a giant mansion box on in California and in a huge, nice, giant box in Fifth Avenue. That's
Exactly.
what they want.
Who's
That's what
off,
equity is to
where
them.
did all those boxes come from for the wheelchair kid?
Yeah.
The executives off screen who have $1 billion to pay for that ramp so that they can stage the photo shoot to push their ideology. That's exactly what's happening in these photos.
No,
But-
and the real equity is that they own the stadium, so you're paying them. You're paying them. To actually watch
The outcome is the same
game.
because they've all paid money to Bob Chapek off to the side to access the stadium. There's another one here. One of these questions I pointed out. This one's going to be fun for everybody to take and apply to their workplace because if it's good for Disney, it'll be great for you. In this discussion starter, they have this pro-inclusion tip at the bottom, which states someone's race or ethnicity isn't a taboo topic. Talk openly about it to appeal to people's conscious values and challenge their unconscious biases. You cannot address racial injustice in the workplace if you do not acknowledge that different experiences exist for people. But be aware that if you're going to talk about race, identify everyone's race, including those who are white. By identifying someone as Black or Latinx, but not categorizing someone else as white, you're saying that white is the norm by which all other races are measured. So I want you all to try that. Go to work tomorrow and start asking every one of your coworkers to tell you their race, and then start separating everybody into racial groups and saying, okay, I want to hear from the Black ones only. I want to hear from the Mexicans only. How, like,
no,
all of this in
Mexicans don't
practice?
exist. It's
Latinx.
true.
The Latin. I
All
need to talk to the
Hispanic people
Latinx.
now are all Hispanic people are now Latinx.
They're Latinxes.
If you're a Russian or Hungarian or Polish, you are white.
No, you're exactly right. If there's no more nuance to who you are. If you are that skin color, you're all the same.
Yeah,
it's
people
so
from
racist.
the people from South Africa are the same from the people from like Chad.
Liberia. Yeah, exactly. Like
Ghana,
this is so insanely racist that like that's how the word salad that we were all touching upon earlier, and the contradictions and the way they flip-flop between everything to make themselves always stand on top is that they do that so that you don't realize how awful this is. Like, this is just so bad. This is asking you to start identifying how people are different from you. They want you to go out and go, you are different, and I need to categorize you as such instead of saying we're all Americans. It's not a melting pot anymore. It's the buffet where like everything's separated out.
Yeah, you don't identify as an American anymore. That's exactly what they're trying. Yeah, they're trying to undermine
awful.
Like, nationalism. But this is, I mean, we saw this with the Cartoon Network, the race public service announcement that they made.
They keep doing all the time.
It's not exclusive to Disney. Warner Brothers is doing it too because Cartoon Network is a Warner Brothers owned company, and then we know that Bad Robot has done it because they actually publicly released their training documents.
I just switched to the Abrams document.
That video was taken down though.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Oh, that's the BLM video where she says that we're all trained Marxists.
I wonder why it's gone.
But yeah, so you get stuff like this, learn and say the names. What's happening isn't just about so that's more about
oh my gosh, learn and say the names and pronouns of those that were mourning. I never caught that before. Goodness, dude.
Well, in this one they actually like say that Asian people are white people.
They do. We always come back to that because it's insane that they say that right here. We know racism in America is older than America itself, and a day-long seminar won't stop the weaponization of white womanhood, the complicity of Asian Americans in anti-blackness, or the disregard of black humanity. They're they're drawing like battle lines for us. Like,
I feel like I should redo this one. Like I should write another article just about how like J.J. Abrams is promoting anti-Asian rhetoric in his.
Honestly, like that's the point I was about to bring up. I was about to ask how many people, black people, because that's who's attacking us, see messages like this and go, we got to go do something. That's the problem here. Everybody is being radicalized into everything to attack everybody else, and everybody needs to chill out. But it's because of these companies, Bad Robot, Disney, Nike, Coke. Again, the people who control everything. They're not
the ones who are paying people like cents to make the Asian people cents to make like T-shirts that they sell for like $40 or whatever.
Working with the CCP right next to the Uyghur internment camps, like it's so equity.
I want my mansion, but you work in this factory for nothing, you slave.
Oh, absolutely. That's 100% on point. We could dedicate. Oh man, where's Ichibaka with Disney Star Wars is dumb? We need Disney Star Wars is not achieving equity, and just throw it right back at them. Yeah. But like John said, and we just pointed out, this is not exclusive to Disney. This obviously is at Bad Robot. We've talked about on the Daily Stupid
which
before.
He worked for Disney. He worked for Disney extensively.
He worked for Disney extensively. Now he's at Warner Brothers working with freaking Ta-Nehisi Coates. So buckle up for that.
Reparations activist.
And
who also doesn't like firemen and police.
I was going to bring that one up. Dang it, you beat me to it. The one who saw all the first responders on 9/11 and hated them because they were white. Such an awful person.
He said it was like there was like a physical attack on him or something like that.
It's something extreme that like who jumps to that? What unless you're obviously it's self-centered. Self-centered liars who want to boost their ego. That's what it is. Like, I mean, it's just gross. But the one thing we're running near the end here. But one thing I specifically wanted to point out. Well, of course, I wanted to point out that in the How to Be an Anti-Racist reading resource, you've got things like the 1619 Project, How to Be an Anti-Racist by Ibram Kendi, White Fragility by Robin DiAngelo. You've got all the hits here.
I mean, this is what we've been seeing. Like, I mean, freaking Coca-Cola was also running the White Fragility crap on theirs, and they tried to say that like, it wasn't. We weren't really. That's not really part of our company's plan. We just had 500 people watching it at the same time.
They tried to claim the same thing. They tried to claim it was available for them to peruse on their own when it clearly wasn't, because we saw the number counter, and there's no way 500 people simultaneously are going to watch any of these videos. I've been in corporate trainings. I barely watch the ones that I have to watch.
Yeah, you only go to them because you're mandated to.
Exactly. Nobody wants to be there. But
I'd rather be doing my actual job than like,
exactly. Just let me go to work. But I think that also speaks to dang it. what was I going to say? I totally lost my train of thought again. But I wanted to bring up
Just how invasive it is across the
completely
spectrum
invasive across the spectrum.
Former American companies.
And why former American companies is probably the best way to put it. It's just
I have a video on the Trump Report advocating that the states nationalize them and fire these people.
Nationalize Disney.
Yeah,
that would be a sight to see, honestly.
Florida needs to just take back Orlando.
What is it? Secede from the union and take back Orlando.
Well, no,
this is ours now.
Yeah, they're just going to be like, we're removing you, Bob Iger. Have a great day.
Yeah, go for it. But the one thing I did want to bring up to sort of conclude this is something.
Oh, yeah, this part here.
So Chris Rufo didn't include this.
Yeah, this is the Latinx stuff.
Yeah. They also, I got to go all the way down because I clicked on that one. So, loading. Yeah. So,
there it is.
Rufo, in addition to the ones he talked about on his that we just went through, he also got these slides that revealed that Disney has launched racially segregated affinity groups for various minority companies.
Right. Disney has launched segregation.
Literally, like they divide you into these groups to tackle these problems on your own. Like, and that doesn't even make sense to me. Playing devil's advocate again, if you think that there's an anti-black problem, why are you putting all the people, like, why are you only working on it among black people and not trying to? It's literally Wakanda, and it's what they named themselves. It's like they don't realize it. But so
and Ola.
Hola.
So weird.
And then Compass is just like a really long one, like Company of Pacific Islanders, Asians, and Allies. Like they just had to do that for some reason. But so you can see they have the three groups here: Ola for Latinos, Compass for the Asians, like I just went through, and then Wakanda for their black employees. And they're basically these affinity groups is the best way to put it, because they're really there to. I can't even tell what they're there to do. Really, it seems like they're just there to organize lunch break struggle sessions and
does it tell you what they're there for?
It just says achieving culturally authentic insights. So it really just sounds like a group that you're just sorted into by race, and then you're given problems by your race to work on. It just doesn't sit right. But the best thing is their slide for the Latin group. Ola. You can see over here in their vision statement, Ola will be a valued business partner supporting Hispanic/Latino and allied cast members' advancement at the Disneyland Resort. In their mission statement, to position the Walt Disney Company as the inclusion-driven entertainment destination of choice for the Hispanic/Latinx communities by impacting marketplace opportunities, championing and developing Hispanic/Latinx leaders, and fostering a culturally diverse environment. So, first of all, the obvious.
So wait, hold on.
I know. I think
they want to foster a culturally diverse environment by segregating out,
putting you all into
Hispanics.
your own groups. Exactly. I was just a point, dude. That's such. I didn't catch that one at first, but that's another one. That's
So
just
stupid.
like it's right there.
So dumb.
That's the insidious nature of critical race and social justice theory. They throw out all of these terms that obviously they can't even keep right in order to keep you eternally confused and eternally having to go to them to know what's right. Don't challenge. Don't ask. Learn on your own. If it's not right, we'll tell you it's right. You're only an ally when we say you're an ally. It's all about having control and making you have to grovel to them for acceptance. And it's stupid because it's acceptance based on adhering to their very, very specific political and social ideology rather than anything like general values or country or kin or anything. It like John said, it's a non-American country now, but it's also a directionless. It's just a company now. It's just it's directionless. It has no goals outside of
the goals
power.
are to enrich Bob Chapek, Bob Iger, and the other top staff and the board members and
get them their bonuses.
Yeah, that's all it's for.
It's so bad, everyone. Like, I mean, there was another resource somewhere that asked you to. Oh, yes, that's what it was. The 75 ways white people can, I got updated.
Oh, it's 101 or something now.
Yeah,
right?
It's like 101 ways You guys can
got
see
it.
all of my search.
You got it in the article if you want to.
75 things white people, 103 things. So this is also a list that was made back in 2017 that is linked to by Disney as additional resources for employees. And it's obviously, it's just like the title says, it's 103 things white people can do for racial justice. But among them are donating to your local BLM chapter. Where was the other ones? Understand and share what defund the police really means.
Yeah.
If you are a friend,
wait, they need you to know and understand what defund the police means.
That's the freaking problem with their stupid campaign. Is that if you have a slogan,
defund the police.
That's every time it's so dumb. If you go up, defund the police. I think defunding the police is bad. Well, it's not really defunding the police. It's actually, dude, if you need to give me an essay as to why your 3-word slogan is not what your 3-word slogan says, it's clear you're pushing at something. Again, it's another ideological Trojan horse. Get that really good, easy 3-word slogan out there, and then
defund the police is nationalize the police with SJW troops.
And abolish police stations altogether, or it's just
they want to they want to destroy what's already the current institution, replace it with a new one. That's their whole thing.
Right, exactly.
Destroy.
Destroy. Like John has talked about before. No creation, no beauty, just destroy.
Wrestler Game here has got a really good point. Let's see. Latinx is a Marxist attack on the very language of a people.
Yeah.
5 centuries of language, tradition, and culture. We need to rename people so they sound like a Pokemon. I call them Wokies.
Wokies is what John says. I like using Latinx and thinking of an SJW X-Men team. Everyone is Snowflake and Safe Space on that team.
They have to be. They're villains though. They got to be villains.
No, not by Marvel standards.
But they would be. If you were doing the story, they would be.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They would be the villains. They would be taking the X-Men name and
they wouldn't be very good
with their own institution. No,
they wouldn't be very good villains because Magneto would probably stomp them.
Let me show you real oppression.
Yeah,
be so awesome.
You want to know what real oppression is? Here's look at this tattoo. And just really.
Yeah, well, I have my pink pea hat tattoo. It's the same thing. It's gonna be so bad.
Restrogam says he pronounces I don't even know how I'm gonna say this. Latinx.
This one. So I don't know if my screen is still up, but this one on the list.
Char's right.
Char's always right. Drop the space station on us already. I'm waiting. 26 on this list is find and join a local white space to learn more about and talk out the conscious and unconscious biases us white folks have. If there's not a group in your area, start one.
White people to segregate too?
They want white people to segregate and struggle session. That's what it is. Form a group where you can all go confess your unconscious biases, because you're not going to be able to, if you go to this one, it's assumed that you have one, right? Because that's what the group is for. So anybody who goes to this group, they're going to try and exercise your original sin of, or not exercise, but absolve you of your original sin of racism. But
yeah,
it'll never be enough. It's that cult mentality. You'll always have to keep showing deeper devotion.
The one right below that is to infiltrate churches.
I don't even know what a Daughters of Abraham book club is, but
I just assume I'm assuming that it's basically do all these things in this group.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm assuming too. Yeah. It's just do deep canvassing about race and racial justice. Watch 13th. Better yet, get a group of friends together and watch 13th. Read a Ta-Nehisi Coates article.
I did read that. It's absolutely
it's
terrible.
Bad. Read the 1619 Project, which is
he doesn't actually make the case for it though.
Decolonize your bookshelf.
That article is terrible. He doesn't actually make. He just
you did cover this one a little while ago. I remember that.
Doesn't even make the case. I actually tried to find something where he's actually there's maybe a couple sentences where he actually advocates for it himself, but most of the time he's just talking about other people asking for reparations.
Again, it's all about that emotional story, that emotional weight to pull people into their cause, and then to get them to decolonize their bookshelf right here, 45.
OC, I assume you're being sarcastic here, OC Steve. I live in a capitalist society, so I'm okay with prison labor.
Right, Mark?
Yeah, well, yeah. Sorry, I guess I read that wrong I read that wrong. Prison labor. I don't know. That's something that I don't know. That's something I still like. Probably need to like think about a little bit more.
Yeah, I still have to like parse my thoughts on prison labor.
I do think there is something to owing your like instead of just like sitting around doing nothing while you're like, I do think it's better to be constructive and actually working to pay off a debt to society that you owe.
But so I also think you should be doing like state work. Like I know a lot of them do like license plates rather than working for like a corporation. I think that's where I would draw the line. I think that's where it gets weird because you're not doing it for society. You're doing it for that company's profit. That's where I think it gets weird.
I think there's something like, I think you're right on that point. But we're getting off topic.
Yeah, we're getting off topic.
Discussion about that.
Make sure you follow people like Patrisse Cullors and Van Jones and Ava DuVernay and Ibram Kendi, all Marxists.
Is literally a Marxist.
She brags about it from one of her 5 houses.
Yes, her $5
Seek out a diverse
million
group of friends
mansions.
for your kids. Seek out a diverse group of friends for you. Like that would be so weird. I don't want somebody to come like, hey, can I be your friend because you're Asian? The hell is that? Why don't you like? What is that? Just be my friend because I'm a human being. Like,
usually people become friends with people because they have something in common.
It's almost like they share thoughts and interests and they have a diverse ideas that can bounce and play with each other. Almost like that's good for a society.
I think this right here is really. I think we might going to close on this here.
Yeah.
Korean says, "Who cares about discovering the mysteries of the universe or how they built the pyramids? Work on your Rossicism you didn't know you had, bigot." Yeah.
Decolonize space.
I think that's so huge right there, Roof Green. You make a really good point there. Instead of like focusing on going to Mars, which like Elon Musk is trying to push, we're focusing on this stuff instead of like trying to really like find the cure for cancer. I guess this is cliche to say, but find that cure for cancer, exploring the depths of the oceans.
Yeah, that's what we should be doing.
Finding new ways to deal with finding new ways to handle like pressure, that intense pressure that the oceans give. Finding ways to build to have us be able to live on Mars or live on the moon and like being able to explore the solar stuff like that. Just like learning how to like grow better crops and stuff like that. That's stuff that we no one like like instead we're talking about like Disney wokeifying themselves. Like what happened to like what is like I know that we had the super chat from Fat Steven saying
something grifting. The wonderful world of grifting.
The wonderful world of grifting. What is I can't even remember what Disney's slogan used to be. The wonderful world of Disney is what I guess.
I think that's like, all it was. Yeah.
Finding the magic and stuff, using your imagination. There's no imagination in this document whatsoever. It's full of contradictions. It's full of stupidity. It's full of idiocy. And it's downright
full of
stupid
telling
and
you
dumb.
what to do rather than letting your imagination go. It's insulting to everybody across the board, whether you're Black, white, Asian, Latin, or Latinx. It's just, this is all offensive.
OCC's got more jokes.
I know. Dang it! I was going to pull that one up.
Still missing a non-binary albino for my work friends.
If you don't complete that by the end of the week, you have to donate $5 or $500 to Patrisse Cullors. She needs a new car. All right, it's a struggle out there. The struggle's real.
That nobody guy, the wokists would have to literally remake the Spanish language to fit their ideology. Male and female are,
and that's what they're trying to. And that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I think that's not just Spanish. I think there's I think Italian is similar as well.
Any gendered language has been hit.
Yeah, like Romance languages for the most part.
And I speak French, and I've seen the woke colonization of that language happening. It doesn't make sense. I've tried to read the sentences when they gender neutralify it. It doesn't make any sense. It takes me more time to read it because I have to parse out who and what pronoun they're talking about because it's all it's so bad. It just stop.
Yeah. All right. Well, I want to thank everyone for joining us for this
Yeah,
extra
definitely.
long special edition of the Daily Stupid. Spencer
Woo.
did a great job, I think, running through a lot of this stuff, pointing out the key points of just how completely idiotic and stupid it really is.
So bad.
And just kind of how corrupt. I mean, I think it shows the corruption within Disney as well, because to put a document like this out, I think just shows how the company's been corrupted.
Yeah, and obviously, if you guys want to read more about it, we link to everything on the website. We've got the documents. We've got this list of 103 things you can do. It's all there if you want to take a look at it, but I'm sure you've all seen this rhetoric a million times over from everywhere.
Rest again, yeah. So just remember, like, Disney might be doing this, but they're like, we're here calling this out. There are people standing against it. The tide. This stuff is evil, and evil will always lose in the end. It's already been defeated. It's already been defeated, in my opinion. Christ rose from the dead, defeated Satan, beat evil. So there's always hope at the end, and that eternal life there is that promise. So I just don't get down, don't be depressed, be hopeful, because there is hope. There is hope, and hope will never be extinguished, no matter what Disney tries to do to it. But thank you all for joining us. We will be back tomorrow for the Black Pill stream. It's ironic. If you haven't watched the Black Pill stream, it's ironic. We do throw a bunch of black pills. But as I said before, it is supposed to be ironic, and we do that starting Wednesdays. So it's tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern time. I look forward to that. We'll be joined hopefully by our other co-host, Donald Edmonds. So he'll be watching us. I do see that Nobody Guy has given us a super chat for $5 right before we go. Thoughts on Invincible? They have Ta-Nehisi references. They have a woke villain. I have not watched any of Invincible, so I can't really say. I know OC Steve says he's liking it.
I've seen it.
I have watched the first 2 episodes of Jupiter's Legacy, so we'll be talking about that.
You saw Jupiter's Legacy? I was going to watch those too, so I better watch them by tomorrow.
First 2 episodes. I've only watched the first 2
cool.
episodes.
I can catch up on that. But
I'm going to watch a little bit more tonight.
I can offer some quick thoughts on Invincible because I watched it. Overall, I love the series. Amber, the character who you're talking about, the race-swapped girlfriend of Mark, is the worst person on Earth. There's literally just no redemption to her character. She literally knows Mark is a superhero and then gets mad at him for putting his life on the line to save her and not paying enough attention to her and not making her feel important. She's awful.
She's an adult. She's an adult.
She's a teenager. She's 16, 17, whatever Mark is, Invincible is. But so as far as the Ta-Nehisi coach references, I think it went against them. So for those of you who don't know, there's a moment where Mark and this girl Amber are on a date, and she Mark's best friend says, here's a bunch of books that you should read to let her know that you're interested in what she's interested in. And it's all sort of activist books. I forget what the other 2 are, but one of them is definitely by name Ta-Nehisi Coates. She also goes to the college campus in like episode 7 or 5, and she says, oh yeah, this college has a great social justice program. So there's that. Hold on to that, because it links back to that woke villain. So that woke villain is destroying the countryside, the mountains and everything. And he's espousing like, oh, you're not being a feminist. You're not, I took critical gender theory. I genuinely cannot tell if the writers were trying to endorse these viewpoints or make fun of them, because that villain is a laughingstock, gets super defeated in that moment. Everything he's like is saying sounds ridiculous. Even Invincible points it out. And then nobody likes Amber. Like, Amber is just the worst character.
So it's like the first villain from One Punch Man.
Yeah.
Like the climate pollution person or whatever.
Yeah, no, that's actually pretty apt for what it is.
One Punch Man is just like, you're done.
He's like, you're done. Like, I do not care.
Yeah. That opening first volume is great. First chapter.
Oh man, I love it. Just when they all pop out of the ground near his house.
The
like vegetable invaders or whatever.
The Earth people.
Yeah, those guys are awesome. But so I don't think Invincible is woke. I think it's actually probably one of the best pieces of superhero media I've seen in a while. Those 2 characters, I think the villain is supposed to be a joke. And I think Amber was supposed to be earnest, but they messed up and made her awful, 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 awful. So it kind of makes what she's preaching awful, awful, awful. So I'm still hopeful. I don't think it's been destroyed yet, or rather invaded yet. And I'll watch the next season. I'm excited for the next season.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
we'll probably talk a little bit more about Invincible tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern time for the Black Pill stream. We'll also be talking a little bit Jupiter's Legacy. I know those are two things we'll probably be talking about. And then I do want to talk about. We'll probably talk about this new Suishida manga called Shojin X. So I actually done some reading. I read that. So
I gotta read that now.
So check that out. We'll check that out with us tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern for the Black Pill stream, and we'll be back again for Daily Super Live next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. And hopefully Don will be able to join us.
Hopefully
next week. We'll see. All right. Have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Take it easy.